Hello and welcome to Teamworks. This is a podcast where we'll be covering everything to do with the gaming world. Each episode we'll be talking to people like ourselves. If you're a streamer or you're just a casual gamer that just wants to talk about gaming, we'll be talking all about everything to do about gaming, and from time to time we'll be talking about Marvel stuff as well. So if you're a big Marvel fan, we'll be talking about that. So this is our podcast. We are Teamworks. Hello everyone and welcome back to the podcast. This is Teamworks and we are on season 2 and this is episode 14. Sorry if we've not been recording for the last 2 weeks. We've just been a little bit busy, but we are back, and we are back with DJ Skoob. How are we doing? Well, thank you for coming on the show, mate.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
And that's why it's called DJ Skoob, because he can do a bit of great personality of Scooby-Doo. But yeah, just let us know and our listeners know a little bit about yourself, mate, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jesse Blount. Obviously, everybody calls me DJ Skoob for obvious reasons. I am the host of a podcast called The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, which is a podcast about brand new entrepreneurs that are just getting started in their entrepreneur adventure. We get their struggles, their goals, and then we follow up with them about 6 months later to see if they've actually achieved those goals. This is a gaming podcast. I've been a gamer for pretty much my entire life. I passed it on to my older child who now does competitions. So, we're kind of a gamer kind of family. And I'm just happy to be here.
That's amazing to hear that, because every time we speak to fellow gamers and all that, we all hear different stories. And just the fact that it's gone through the family, which is amazing. It's amazing because gaming is a big thing, and it needs to be spoke about a lot more than it is these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been really kind of like growing up. A lot of the stigma was games are bad for you and that kind of thing, but nowadays people are realizing there are good qualities to the gaming industry where you can even go into a competition like it's like football or anything else like that, where it's a really hardcore competition where you need to practice and get better at your craft. So that's kind of where my son's taken over. Yeah,
and it's amazing that it's something to do when you got a bit of free time. It also helps you, if you've had a tough day at work, or you just had a day where you think, I need something to spark us up a little bit, and have a bit of laughter and that. So yeah, gaming does help. It helps with the mental health and everything as well. But it's just amazing that you've gone from you gaming and then your son's gaming. It's amazing that not just people being a gamer. There's families out there that are all gamers as well, which is brilliant to hear. And Phil, what would you like to ask DJ Skoob?
So, with you saying about the entrepreneur part of the past, have you had more people who've been successful in their endeavors or less?
It really depends on the person. It's hard to say this person was successful and this person wasn't successful. So far, everybody that's followed up with in the 6-month span, because it's hard to get a hold of everybody every time. But so far, everybody I've followed up with has been quite successful. And I watched their entrepreneur adventure. I followed them on all the social medias and checked back with them. Hey, how are things going? Because you want to keep that camaraderie up, and just let them know that you're there to assist if there's anything you can do to help them. But it's really fun to watch people's progress and see where they start, because that's when I talk to most of my entrepreneurs, or when they're literally just getting started, less than a year in their business. And I've been doing this for 2.5 years now, so it's fun to see where they've progressed from where I started the podcast to where I am now in that 2.5 years.
Wow. That's brilliant to hear. Just before we carry on, I did say episode 15, didn't I? Or 14? Or what did I say? I can't remember now.
I heard 14.
Right, okay. My bad. We're on episode 15, guys.
Oh, okay. You're fired. Oh.
That's the first time that's ever happened. But we've gone back a episode. So there's a question that we always like to ask our guests, and that is, what console did they ever first play on?
Okay. So, let's see. Technically, my first console was an Atari 2600, I believe. But I gathered a very vast variety of different consoles from then up. I had the Atari, I had an Intellivision, I had a ColecoVision, I had an IntelliVoice, a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation 2. I skipped 3 and went to PlayStation 4. I had a Sega CD, Dreamcast, the Nintendo box. My brain just stopped just there. The Cube, Nintendo Cube.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we have the Wii Plus, and the Switch. And I currently am on the lookout for a PS5. So I have quite a variety of different consoles that I've played over the years and kept.
Amazing. That's brilliant. That so you've basically gone for quite a few generations there, which is amazing to hear, because I've had every PlayStation going. I've not had every Nintendo console, but I have had a few. I'm currently on a Nintendo Switch myself now, and so is Phil. We're currently on a PS5, so it's amazing, isn't it? And what would you say is your best console now? Obviously you still got the PS4, did you say?
Yes.
So up to now, what would you say is the best console you've ever played on?
That I've played on, this probably has to be the PS4, just because it's the graphics and I love it having backward capability. But I think my favorite one growing up was not just the Nintendo, but I had the Power Pack system, which was the Nintendo system, the laser gun, and Rob the Video Robot. Have you heard of that guy?
I think so. Do you know what? I'm not sure. To be honest with you. There's not many things.
Rob the Video Robot was a trinket, kind of like the gun or the bazooka that Nintendo had out, but it only worked on 2 games, and it was called Gyromite. Basically, it was a piece of plastic that was in the shape of a robot, and it would react to lights that happened on the screen, and the robot would actually move with the lights and do different functions as that flashed on the screen. It was really kind of a state-of-the-art technology for the time. You could actually see a little blip of him in come on, brain, what was the name of the game? Smash Brothers. So Rob in Smash Brothers, that's Rob the Video Robot, and that's where you could see what he is. But I actually had one of the first systems that had Rob the Video Robot, which I still have.
Oh, brilliant! Do you know what? I have my PS3 till, God, must have been, I think it was about last year sold it, I think, or the beginning of this year, and I had it for ages, but it was one of them. It was sitting there, and I said to myself, I'm not going to play on it again. I might as well, try and get a little bit of money for it. So, I sold it, unfortunately, and I loved the PS3 days. The PS3 days were brilliant. I know you said you skipped it, so did Phil? Phil skipped the PS3, didn't you, mate?
Did you?
So you literally, you didn't know what the PS3 was really about, but it was great for the themes. You could download a load of themes on there and stuff like that. I mean, it was good, but the party chat was a bit. It was like I think you had to speak through game chat, which I don't like game chat. I'm not sure whether you're the same, DJ Skoob. Have you ever spoke through game chat to people, and it just sounds weird, doesn't it?
At that point, I just like it was hard for me. I wasn't a very social guy at the time, so I didn't really go into game chance to be 100%
Yeah.
honest with you. But right now, I mean, if I'm doing anything, doing it through Discord like we are now. So it's just so much easier to deal with. It's a little cleaner in the sound, and I mean, if somebody's sneaking up behind you and somebody wants to tell you about it, you need to know about it right away, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? I have to admit with you on that. Discord is a lot easier. It's a lot better as well. And like you say, the sound quality is a lot better. But also, you can also turn the volume up to 200, which is max, isn't it? So if you can't hear anyone on 100, which you think you'll hear someone on 100, but if you can't hear them clearly, you can turn them up to 200, which is a good feature to have, because I know you can't do that on other party chats. You can't turn it up that loud, can you?
I've never tried because I was afraid I'd blow my ears out. But I believe you.
I've actually tried it when there's been a lot of us in the chat. I've actually tried turning people up, and it's not sounded that bad, to be honest with you.
I'll have to give it a try sometime.
Definitely. And you know what? It's a shame that I'm glad that they brought Discord to PlayStation, but the only thing about it is they paid, I think it was 30 odd billion. Yeah, I think it was a 30 odd billion partnership, and all they got is invoice chat, which is not very good because you have to go through your phone, transfer the phone voice chat into the console. It's a little bit awkward to do it through PlayStation, but that's the way they've done it. I literally thought there was going to be a Discord app, but whether that'll come in the future, I don't know. It just seems odd to partnership up with that amount of money, and it's only like a little bit they've done to it, and you gotta do it through your phone anyway. I think it's pointless, really.
With that much money, you think they'd be able to develop their own system? I mean, instead of just stealing somebody else or whatever you want to say it. But I mean, if I had that much money, I'd just make my own system instead of paying out for somebody else. Personally,
Well, yeah, Xbox have actually managed to somehow get it built into their party chat system, so you don't have to go through your phone or anything. You just like join a Discord call straight from the Xbox.
right?
So they've made it a lot easier in that sense. But no, Discord is brilliant. It's not just good for the the voice chats and all that, but it's good to meet new people in communities and stuff that I think Discord is brilliant.
And my son's big on Discord. He does everything through Discord. I can't even text him on his normal phone. He won't answer, but he'll answer me on Discord. So I kind of stick to that.
I think that's down to the fact that he's in a group chat with all his gamer friends, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's always in his
I'm the same. I never not use any other chat now but Discord. I mean, if I'm just playing with Phil on the PlayStation, yeah, we'll go into party chat. But when we're on a game with a few others that like to use Discord, we go on Discord, don't we, mate?
Yeah. I just don't particularly like using it with the PlayStation because
Yeah.
every now and again it just randomly cuts off and just stops working entirely.
I know. It's like they never thought about it when they partnership up with all that billion in money that they, spent to partnership up with them. You think they'll actually put the app straight into the PlayStation, wouldn't you? But they didn't, unfortunately.
You'd assume so, but what do we?
But yeah,
No.
Discord is that. Discord is good for that, and we've met some incredible people through the Discord communities, and that's why I love Discord. I love Discord for that. It's been great for the podcast as well, because people will be coming over from the Discord as well. But it's amazing. And yeah, going back onto gaming and all that, I believe in the 90s, you did something with Nintendo, didn't you? DJ Scoob?
Oh yes. 90 was a very good year for me. 1990 marked the first that I remember the Nintendo Power Fest.
Yeah.
And the Nintendo Power Fest was the countrywide search for the best Nintendo, well, the worldwide search for the best Nintendo players of the time. Now, I, at that particular time, lived out in California. And in California, we had the Oakland Coliseum, and actually took part there actually in the Nintendo Power Fest, where I ended up being the semi-finalist for California, which was amazing.
Wow, that's fantastic. That did you manage to get to the final, or was it just a bit of unlucky thoughts, or did you make it?
Well, the funny here's the whole part. My mom's never going to live this down. I kid not. So I got to the finals, and I had the sticker. They gave me a hat, the whole thing, and told me to come back the next day to compete for California because I was in the top 5 there. And my mom had to work that day, and she wouldn't take the time off from work to take me.
Oh no!
Yeah, so
so you didn't get to go.
I didn't get to go to the finals because my mom had to work that day. So here we are, like 30 some odd years later. I still give her a hard time about it because I had a chance to be one of the to be the top Nintendo player of the country.
Oh, that's such a shame. But you know what? You made a big achievement there, haven't you? You got to the finals. I mean, that must be it. You must be proud of that in itself.
Oh yeah, sure. It's probably one of my biggest bragging points besides my kids. Yeah, it's my kids, and then Nintendo Power Fest.
And that's what your son's aiming for now. Is it? Yeah.
But I don't know about Nintendo Power Fest. I don't even think they have him anymore. But he's in competition right now for Valorant. So that's what he's been doing for that. So we'll see how far he goes for that.
Oh, brilliant! I hope he does well as well. Let's hope he gets to the final like his dad.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely amazing. So yeah, people that are listening, that is that DJ Scoob, like he's just told you, he got to the finals of becoming one of the best Nintendo gamers back in the 90s. But unfortunately, your mum was working that day, which was a shame. But I tell you what an achievement! I'm quite gobsmacked that we've actually got someone on our podcast now that's you could say is sort of famous, couldn't you, Phil?
Sorry, mate, my internet broke up there. You could say what?
I was just going to say we can say we've really had someone famous on our show, haven't we?
Oh yeah, man, definitely.
I mean that's an incredible achievement. I don't think I could ever.
I mean, there's no way either of us could have been at that level game plus, wasn't we?
I mean, all I'm going to achieve is probably the craziest lad in Britain or something. Oh, I don't know.
Waiting you for that one.
No comment until I see my lawyers. But yeah, that is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that story, mate, of back in the 90s when you know what? That's amazing achievement. And you know what? Are you gonna try and do it again for PlayStation, maybe?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have been so involved with my podcast that I think I've lost that golden touch a little bit. I mean, and the thing too is, and I'm an older guy, so like I'm a little bit lost when it comes to having more than 3 buttons on a controller. Okay, so
I know it's all changed now. I mean, yeah, cause I remember the old Nintendo controllers. It was like, yeah, it was a small rectangle shape, or
it was a small rectangle with 2 buttons and a mover pad, and that was it. No triggers, no L3s or whatever the heck you're talking about right now. It's just two buttons and a control pad, and that's it.
Do you know what? They actually re-brought them out, didn't they, for the Nintendo Switch, I believe?
They did, but then you have movement too, where you got to swing your arms around and do whatever, you know.
Yeah, and then your controller ends up flying out of your hand or something.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when they first started coming out, people were starting to fling their controllers into their TVs and breaking their TVs.
Yeah. That's why they do say put your straps on, but we never listen, do we?
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, God, the amount of times I've nearly done that with my Nintendo Switch controller. But yeah, it's amazing. I love Nintendo. I love PlayStation. I just love gaming in total, and I think it needs to be talked about a little bit more because there's not many gaming podcasts out there. I mean, it's slowly getting better. There's quite a few coming out now. I've been on one myself. Someone invited me to come onto his show, and we managed to talk about the Crash Bandicoot game, which Crash Bandicoot was fantastic in its day, wasn't it?
Oh, I love Crash Bandicoot. I still get in there every once in a while to kind of freshen up the twirling.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I always said that game made PlayStation to the way it is now, and I couldn't see if Xbox turned around and said we're not allowing PlayStation to have these games anymore. I just think that'll be wrong for them to do that. I know they've took over the company and all that, but I think they should be still bringing them to the PlayStation because it's PlayStation's legacy, Crash Bandicoot.
Well, yeah, it was basically PlayStation's version of either Mario or Sonic. You know, that was kind of their thing when they first came out. That was their character. So.
Yeah, exactly, and it was the same with Spyro the Dragon. That was
yeah,
character.
Spyro.
Well, there's rumours about there's going to be a new Spyro game after all these years.
Yeah, so, they're about due for another one. I actually had, what was it? I can't even remember the name of them. They're the little like figurines that you put on the thing, so you could actually play that character.
Oh,
Skylanders.
Yeah, Skylanders.
Skylanders. Thank you. Yes.
I remember playing that on one of that game on PlayStation 3. There was a Skylander game on there. It was my brother's, but we both played it. And yeah, I remember it was little figures that you put on this thing that lights up. Yeah, it was brilliant. And then your characters came alive then, didn't they?
Yeah, and I also did the Disney version of that. Disney had their own thing.
Yeah, I actually think... Yeah. Well, I think I remember seeing that, and I didn't get to try that one, which I thought... But I believe Crash Bandicoot did make... If I'm right, didn't he make an appearance in Skylanders?
Well, percent of that, but I wouldn't surprise
you. Did, but he... Well, I know that he was actually in Skyland, but his character looked nothing like how Spyro used to look. He just looks so different and weird.
Yeah.
What's the fuck?
Yeah, and I think I remember seeing it now, and that's why I was just double checking if I got that right. But yeah, he was in Skylanders, yeah, and yeah, as you pointed it out, Phil, his character looked weird. It didn't look like Crash Bandicoot, really, did it? Let's just say that.
I wasn't a fan.
No, I definitely wasn't a fan either. But yeah, what's your point? What's your take on all this? You know, with Xbox taking over Activision, and you know, will we see Crash Bandicoot still coming to PlayStation, or do you think? To me personally, I think they won't benefit from keeping it away from PlayStation. But what's your point on it, mate?
Me? Yes.
Both of you, sir. Yeah, both of you.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. Activision has had a lot of issues ever since they had the buyouts, and they were just for a while there. They were just barely swimming in, with their water above the head there, and I think they're just trying to find a way to stay alive. And I think that's going to be one way they're going to do it or they've actually done it, is to sell out to somebody, and they're the winners. You're still going to see Crash Bandicoot in different things, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near where it used to be.
No, but I just think it'll be wrong for Xbox to keep it off PlayStation, because it's, PlayStation started Crash Bandicoot, so eye candy. I mean, that'll be definitely console war then.
Oh, 100%. We're due for another console war here pretty soon anyway, with all the new technologies coming out, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, same. What's your point on it, Phil?
I mean, I would be pretty annoyed. They do completely remove it from PlayStation, because, as you stated, it was PlayStation's original thing. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. It was sold to Xbox. Honestly, kind of annoyed with it too.
If you would like to be a guest on our show yourself and talk about your background, how you became a streamer or just a casual gamer, just DM us on our social medias, or you can contact us by our email, which is teamworkspodcast@outlook.com. Now let's get back to the episode.
But I reckon initially what they'll do is they'll make it Xbox exclusive, and then over time they'll release it to PlayStation as like, we're doing this for you, to make it seem like a favour sort of thing. So, and obviously they'll again make thousands as well, but hundreds of thousands. But
so do you think it'll be like a limited time exclusive for Xbox, and then it'll go over to PlayStation eventually?
I don't know. I think Xbox have bought it. They would be stupid to kind of like sell it back now, because they've got PlayStation by the balls with that, because it was PlayStation's thing, sort of thing. But as I say, I do think that now that they've got it, they will do release their own stuff, and it, as Scoob said, it won't be quite the same. It won't be to the level that it was. Whether it'll just be kind of a bit of a cash grab, and they might just start releasing crap for it. I don't know, but I really hope not. I really hope that they do it justice, and here's hoping, and I'll give them enough back to assume that they won't let it, go to crap.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And do you know what they did say? At first, they said, that it won't be coming to PlayStation. They were going to take it off. But then, I didn't realise. I posted the article up the other month on my gaming Facebook page, I think, and my Twitter page. And someone commented and said, this is an old article. Because they've already turned around and said that they're not going to be doing that now. And you know what? I didn't even realise it was because this Facebook page decided that they were reposting an article that was back in July last year. So you can see where people got confused there. And then when I clicked on it, I didn't. Sometimes you don't look at the date because you think, it's just been posted now by these. I ended up sharing it, and then when someone commented, I realised, they did come back out and say, we've gone back on our words now. We're not going to do that now. So I'm hoping that is their final decision, and they are going to bring Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation still. But also, the Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty myself, but I know people do. So it would be sad to see that go from PlayStation and stuff like that. But Xbox have recently turned around and said they want to have a multi cross-platform feature, which will allow Xbox games to come on PlayStation. So the Forza Horizon 5 that is meant to be coming on PlayStation. Sea of Thieves, that has been confirmed apparently. That's coming to PlayStation. And the new Halo game, which is obviously it's not new, but it'll be new for the PlayStation. But Halo Infinite, that is meant to be coming on PlayStation as well. And then I think they're trying to bring some other games out. So I wonder eventually will they have like an Xbox Game Pass on there or something. I mean, there was talks back a while ago. Well, what was your thoughts on that, Scoob?
Well, I see a lot of it's going the same way as Sega went to Nintendo. If you remember back then, they actually ended up selling out to Nintendo. They sold Nintendo Sonic at first, just like Crash Bandicoot. We're seeing a lot of the same things happening here, where they bought out, then they do crossovers, and then they start doing their own thing again. Just to that's what Sega did to try to get themselves out of financial debt, was to sell off characters, then ended up selling the whole deal, just because that's just how it ended up. And I see that this is almost the exact same instance where first they start selling out their characters and the rights to their characters, and now they're selling out the platform altogether. And you're probably, if it goes that same way, then you're going to see that console probably die out altogether within the next 5 to 7 years. If I see that same thing, same occurrence happening. Personally, I can't wait to see character crossovers. Crash Bandicoot. I'm a huge crossover nut. When I see crossovers, it just drives me crazy. Like the first time I saw Sonic and Mario together, that was nuts.
Yeah, I mean that was brilliant. Actually, that was wasn't that the first one? Was that the Olympics games?
Yeah, that's right. That was the first crossover game. Was the Olympics between Sonic and Mario and characters? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I used to have a lot of fun on that as well. It was brilliant, that game. Well, what's your thoughts on it, Phil? Do you think that we'll see more Xbox games on PlayStation eventually? Do you reckon, like Scoob said then, do you reckon there'll be any character crossovers with games from Xbox and PlayStation, or do you think it's just going to stay the same? What's your thoughts, mate?
I reckon we'll have some character crossover.
Yeah.
Especially with different things being bought by different companies. But I would be. I don't know. I like the idea of the character crossovers.
Yeah, I do.
Because you imagine different characters in different scenarios, and I mean we talk about it a lot of mixing different characters with different games and that. I don't think either Xbox or PlayStation will completely sell out and shut down or anything, but you never know. But I mean, it is interesting the fact that history does repeat itself.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And you know what? They've also as well. You've heard of the game called Euro Truck Simulator, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that game apparently has come to console. So after that was exclusive to PC, and it always has been for several years since it came out, and yet apparently that's coming to consoles now. I wonder how it'll work on consoles. It might actually work really good. And if you don't know what Euro Truck is all about, well, you probably seen it in the name and all that, but basically you drive as a truck driver, and you pick up deliveries and all that. But there's also a multiplayer mod called TMP, also Truckers MP, and you can drive with people all around the world. So it's a big map. You can drive as miles and miles, just like in real life. And yeah, that's basically what I've been doing tonight. Before we started recording here, I was on a convoy. People call it a convoy because there's a lot of people driving, and yeah, it was a successful convoy. And I wonder how it would work. Would they do cross play with it? I would imagine they would because of PC.
I would think so. Just it would go a lot of the same things as these other games that are crossed over into different platforms. You know, whether it be Xbox or PlayStation or on PC. I see it happening with a set of VR goggles.
Oh, can you imagine that sitting in in your cockpit in your truck with VR goggles on? That would be pretty amazing, that actually, wouldn't it?
Probably a lot more realistic than looking at a square in front of you.
Yeah, but what happens if a car goes right in front of you or another truck and you're like trying to avoid it? Oh my god, you'll probably headbutt the screen, wouldn't you?
You fall off the couch and hope the airbag doesn't go off.
Oh god, I've got the PlayStation VR and obviously the old one because the new one's come out now, but. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I've not actually used it as much as I thought I would use it. And the only reason for it is when I got it was when it was PlayStation 4. When I had the PlayStation 4, I got the VR. I also had the camera, so it was obviously you had to add the camera to work it. But then when the PlayStation 5 came out, the PS4 camera wasn't compatible with PS5, believe it or not. So what they did in the end, because people are like, oh, why is it not compatible? It doesn't make sense. Obviously, they brought a new camera out for the PS5, but what they did is they said, anyone that owns a VR will, if you put your serial number off it in our website, we will give you a free dongle. Now this dongle converted the PS4 camera so it could work on the PS5. Now you had to do that directly through PlayStation itself. I did get my adapter, but for some reason I've just not connected it up again.
You know what's funny is I actually got one of the first versions of the VR that goes in the headset that is on with your phone.
Yeah.
And it cost me $300. It was a pretty good penny, and I used it for like maybe 6 months, and then I just put it down and I never picked it up again. Just for some reason, it kind of lost its luster for me, and I'm thinking that's probably what the same thing is going to happen here now. With this new whole Apple, whatever the heck that thing is, everybody's wearing. I don't know if that's going to be a different story or not, but I just spent so much money on that gosh darn thing, and then it kind of wore its welcome out after a couple months.
Lucky enough, I got it as a Christmas present, so I was lucky. I was lucky on that behalf. I didn't have to pay out for that, but it was one of them. I really liked it, and I started playing on it. I really liked it, but it was a little bit uncomfortable on your head. You come out with a load of lines around your eyes anyway, because it's been pressing against your eyes and your nose. But also, they say you're only supposed to be on it for 15 minutes at a time, and some people react differently. And do you know what? I didn't think I would react the way I did. After 15 minutes, I was gone. I couldn't play it. I was feeling really, really emotional sick. And I thought, God, crikey, you just don't know that you've got emotional sickness until you try one of these VRs on. And believe it or not, I left it for a week and then went back on it, and it was the same. And I'm saying, I've never suffered with social sickness before, but they do say these VRs, because it's dead bright in your eye and you're looking around and everything's around you and everything's moving quickly, it does tend to give you emotional sickness, and that's why they recommend you only 15 minutes at a time.
Well, that's the thing. No, how are you supposed to play a game in 15 minutes and be satisfied with it? I mean, I'm a gamer. I'll play 2, 3, 4 hours
I know,
before
yeah.
I even put the thing down. So it's like, how's 15 minutes supposed to work?
I know. I did try once. I got past 50 minutes once, and God, when I came off it, let's just say for half an hour, I couldn't move properly because I was that emotional sickness. And like you say, you don't know you are until you try one of these VRs. They do make you emotional sickness. I mean, it's probably different to other people, but have you ever got emotional sickness, Phil, on a VR before?
Yeah. So, trying to remember. So, one of the games I used to love playing on the VR was Beat Saber.
Yeah, that was a good game, wasn't it?
And obviously, you feel like you look a lot cooler than you actually.
Yeah.
When I've played stuff like what was it, Rec Room and Horizon Worlds, I got motion sickness off that, and then I was like, oh god, I can't do it again. I've come back to it, and I'm doing it bit by bit, and now I'm all right with it now. Like, I can be immersed in it for a couple of hours without any effect.
Oh, that's strange. So yeah, you're saying you've basically got used to it.
Yep.
Now, maybe if I went on the VR a little bit more, I'll probably get used to that 15 minutes. But that 15 minutes was terrible
Slightly,
when it came off. Oh my god. God. I had to, let's just say I had to run to the bog. This is not bad. But yeah, no, it all depends, doesn't it? I mean, I didn't think I would be that bad after 15 minutes on it. I thought I could last longer, and I did try once, and it did last a little bit longer. But just before we get off though, Scoob, did you ever have emotional sickness when you tried a VR?
Fortunately, I have a stomach of iron. I was actually, the first time I played for at least 2.5, 3 hours and felt absolutely nothing. When I was growing up, I actually got to try one of the first VR video games in an arcade in Santa Cruz, California, where I stood in a ring with the VR headset and a handgun. And this was like when I was like 15 or 16 years old. And even then, I played for at least 20, 30 minutes. And I felt nothing. So I'm just one of the lucky ones, I guess.
And do you know what? The other thing as well is, you say you got the chance to play on one of the very first VRs, which obviously is different to what it is now. But I would imagine with them pixels that we're talking about years ago, that would be more emotional sickness for you, wouldn't it? Because of the pixels.
Well, yeah, everything was very flat, I guess you could say, because it was very, more shapes than anything else. Lots of squares, triangles, and circles. So it's nothing really realistic. So your body's not used to seeing something like that and actually moving at the same time. It just doesn't make sense to your brain. So I could see how that could do. I still was okay, but I know a couple of people that got off there after me that were kind of like, whoa. So,
Yeah, definitely. Some people, emotional sickness, some people can cope with it, but do everyone remember the Rugrats game that was on the PlayStation 2?
The which game was it?
The Rugrats?
No, that does not ring a bell.
Well, basically, you've heard of the cartoon Rugrats, haven't you?
Rugrats, yes.
Yeah, so they made a game.
Oh, Rugrats. Yes, sorry. It took me a second for it to register. Yes, I do remember that game.
Well, that wasn't emotional sickness as such, but every time I heard that tune, because that tune was a weird tune, that tune actually made me feel a bit weird. I don't know whether I was the only one back then, but that game with that, after a while with that music going on all the time, I felt a little bit weird.
I don't think it had anything to do with the game. I think it was just the song itself. So.
Yeah. Do you know what? I always remember that game because, and I don't remember my childhood, but I remember that game because of the music. I remember that game. Did you ever play it, Phil?
Yeah, was it the one with the weird like clown robot things, or was it the one you were in Paris?
The one
because I remember two
robots. It was when he was at home. They were at home. They weren't in Paris.
Okay, yep. I know which one you're on about.
Oh god!
Yeah,
did you feel
it did sound weird.
Did it? So you end up feeling
no,
weird, don't you?
Definitely not.
But yeah,
I will say though, I always remember on the Mega Drive. Yeah. I don't remember what company it was, but one of the company's logos first loaded up. The sound used to scare the crap out of me as a kid. So I'd want to play the game, so I'd put the game in, run out the room, and the logo would load itself up, then go back and start playing on the game, because I don't know what it was, but something terrified me about it as a kid. Very weird.
Do you know what? Brilliant, guys. I've really, really enjoyed having you on the show, DJ Skoob. And if you want, you can do your Scooby-Doo sound again, just to end the show. Did you know what? That's one of the best ones I've heard in a while. That brilliant, mate. Frank? What? That's my middle name. I'm telling you my whole name now. Phil. Is there anything you want to end the show with? You know, is the last question you want to ask?
Yeah, I just want to go back to one little thing. When you mentioned the old virtual reality thing, was it Virtual Boy that, or was it something else?
I didn't quite catch the question there. I'm sorry.
Sorry. The older VR games, one of the first ones that came out. I was just wondering, boy, or was it a different VR thing?
Let's see. I'm still not catching the question. I think you're asking me what the old VR was like when I first tried it. Is that what you're asking me, or?
I was asking, do you remember what it was called?
Oh, what it was called? No, it was so long ago. All I can remember is it was basically a run and gun with power-ups. It was very experimental. I'm not even sure if they had a name for it at that point.
Yeah.
But it was fun, I gotta tell you. And I was actually one of the first people to get all the way through the game, all the way to the very end of it. I was one of the first ones to finish it in that particular area in Santa Cruz, California.
Nice. That's
awesome.
That's absolutely brilliant. And you know what? It's been a fantastic chat. I know, sadly enough, you're off to work now, so we'll definitely get you on for part 2, definitely, because I think there's a lot to be discussed. But thank you for telling us your story. Why you became a gamer and why it's so important as well, and also the fact that you got to a final in the 90s for the Nintendo what was it called? Nintendo what? Sorry, mate?
Nintendo Power Fest.
Nintendo Power Fest, wow. And that must have been incredible itself. I mean, did you get a chance to see anyone working behind Nintendo back then?
You know, if I did see him, I didn't recognize him. I was so into the games. I wasn't, I was a little kid at that time, so I was more interested in the games than who was making them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and now as we get older, we're interested in who makes them, aren't we?
Well, I wanted to be one of them. That's just it, at that point. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, God, dreams, eh? Dreams. My dream is to Well, it's me and Phil's dream is to get Ninja on the show. That is a mission impossible, but we are going to keep at it and see if he'll come on the show. I mean, to be fair to the guy, he's well known and he doesn't want people to contact him. So yeah, fair play to him. But if he does happen to come across this podcast, happen so, yeah, just give us a message, mate. We'll definitely have you on the show. In fact, on his Instagram, he asked what creators or celebrities should he have on his podcast. And I said, you're always welcome to come on our podcast. I got a love heart on it, but I don't know who it is. So could it be him? I don't know. But yeah,
sometimes you have to be on their podcast first before they'll be on yours. But you never know. It's a big world out there.
It is, and you start from little, and like Phil said, you only get one answer if they ever come back to you is yes or no. And that's what we're trying, and I'm going to try my best, but I've emailed a few people, so I'm just waiting to see if they'll email back. But like you say, you start off slowly, and you know what? We started off in 2021. We didn't have any guests on our show. We only did 3 episodes, and then for some reason, because it was the time of the pandemic, we thought it was a good idea starting it then, but then it turned out it wasn't really. But then we started it up again, and I said to Phil, let's get some guests on our show, make it more exciting. And since then we've had, God, I've lost count how many guests we've had on, Phil. I think his internet might have cut off on him again. But yeah, all we like to do at the end of our podcast is to end it with 2 questions. And basically, the first question is coming out of the show is there any shout-outs you want to give to anyone, Skoob?
Oh, shout-out, sure. I'd like to shout out my entire Good Pods group that I now currently run. There's 60 of us. So any of y'all that's listening to this right now, hello, and I love you all. I'd like to obviously shout out my son and what he's doing. And yeah, anybody that's looking, I'm going to give myself a plug. I hope that's okay. But anybody that's looking to start an entrepreneur adventure, you could reach out to me, djskoob, and you could contact me at uepodcast.net. That's my website. And I also do coaching, entrepreneur coaching. So if you need somebody to help you along your entrepreneur adventure, you could get me at doingittodaycoaching@gmail.com.
Amazing. Thank you, mate. Everyone give DJ Skoob a look up. He's a fantastic lad. He got to a final, which in my eyes is a big achievement, and it's been amazing having you on the show. The last question is basically come from our last guest. Now, this happens every week. No one knows who's going to ask the next question to the next guest. So our question from our last guest is, and it's from the Gray's Tap Room podcast, and their question to you, mate, is what 2 gaming universes would you like to see crossover with each other?
Oh, heck, we might even actually get to see it between the Xbox and PlayStation. I mean, we were just talking about it, so I wouldn't mind seeing those 2 universes together. That would be very interesting.
Wow, brilliant! So yeah, Xbox and PlayStation. Do you reckon they could stop the console wars and make a big console that's partnership with both?
You know, what's funny is I've been asking myself that same question since I was a little one. Why don't these guys get together and play nice, and just have the big, crossover and that kind of thing?
Ideally, we want this, but
Yes.
I don't think it'll happen because look, PlayStation are earning money from their consoles that they're making, and so is Xbox. So I can't see that. But what I will say is that we might see more games off PlayStation and Xbox on the same platforms. But yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you for coming on our show, mate. And yeah, everyone that hasn't listened to our podcast before, this is Teamworks Podcast. We are on season 2, and this is episode 15. And you can contact us through Twitter, which is TWPod1. We have Instagram, which is Teamworks Podcasts, and a Facebook called Teamworks Podcasts as well. And also, if you don't happen to have any social medias or you prefer to contact by email, it's teamworkspodcast@outlook.com. And also, as well, if you want to say to Alexa, play the latest episode of Teamworks, it will play it through your smart speaker as well. Thank you for coming on our show tonight, mate. And it's been amazing having you on the show, Skoob. And yeah, it's amazing. And I just hope Phil's back with us now. Are you, Phil? I think his internet might have gone on, mate.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining. Oh,
Sorry,
there we go. It's all right, mate. It's all right, mate. Yeah. Don't worry. We carried on to keep it going, mate. But yeah, we're just basically saying thank you for DJ Skoob for joining the podcast. It's been amazing. We'll definitely get you on for part 2.
I know I heard it.
You heard it all. No worries. But yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a good day at work, mate. I hope you're not late.
No, I'm actually sitting in front of the restaurant right now. So.
Oh, do you know what? I never heard anything while you were walking there. I didn't. Brilliant. Well, yeah, we'll let you get off, mate. So you're not late for work, and thank you for coming on. We'll definitely get you on for part 2.
All right, Rachel.
No worries, mate. You take care and have a good day.
All right, bye.
Bye. See you later, Phil. Peace.
Peace out, dude.